Hello ladies and gentlemen, this is Blue Maxima and I'm here checking out Crazy Market! This is a free-to-play game from the people who bought you Flying Hamster HD, which, fun fact, that's the first game I ever did a video on using, in fact, this very one Vita, which is actually kind of a nice little thing to think about, but anyway. This is a free-to-play game, which is kind of odd because you don't usually see them very much on Vita, but the ones you do see are usually crap. This one's not too bad. We'll get into it. So, not that much to see in the way of options or anything like that, but the game's played entirely with a touchscreen, so you don't really need them, which is kind of nice. You have a few things you can do here on the main menu. You can check what stages you've got here. As far as I'm aware, there's 60 stages, so that would be enough for about 3 months worth of stages, if every month has 20 stages, so decent enough length at least. The game does actually have an energy system, a la pretty much everything in the game, and if we tap the buy button here, we can see that I have actually gone and bought that once the game's internet loads. I'm gonna have to block out my email there just so people don't start spamming me. But yes, the game does have some in-game purchases, but not that many. The majority of them are coin purchases, and then there's a couple of real-world ones, one of which I did make just to make this video a little easier on myself. So, if you come to your upgrades, you can see you can get upgrades for things like a booster slot, which will give me more boosters, or a supermarket upgrade, which will give me a higher score, but those are pretty much the only real upgrades you can get. The rest are one-use boosters, and I'll let you read through the descriptions here, just so you can see what these all do. Thankfully, they're all nice and cheap, and it's easy to get the coins for them. But the main thing is that you do need to... It says everything's out of stock here in the cafeteria, but you do actually need to keep in mind your coin supply, because, as I said, it's got a free-to-play energy system, and you start off with 10. Yes, 10 levels to play, or should I say 10 times you can play before you run out of energy. And then you have to wait half an hour before you get your energy back, and I thought, screw it, I'm not going to spend the time, so I bought myself the $2.99 infinite energy packs so I could play as much as I wanted to, and I needed a fair bit more than those 20 times, than those 10 times energies to get to where I am in the game right now, I tell ya. It took me about an hour to get here, so, you know, it might take you longer if you don't actually pay for anything, but yeah, $2.99 lets you play every level in the game over and over again. You can also use coins to buy coffee cups, which will give you more energy, but it would be a lot harder to afford things like upgrades and stuff like that as well. You can also come here to buy coins, but I don't think this is entirely necessary. You can basically just buy the infinite energy thing and you'll start making coins out the wazoo just because you can play over and over again and start grinding. There is a little book here that gives you a bunch of codes for items, and this is for one of the mechanics in the game, but you don't actually get that many to begin with. You get them like when you beat certain levels and stuff like that. It's a little odd, but yeah. You'll see what those are used for when we actually start playing, which is actually right now, because everything else that needs to be done is, like, over on the bottom left here is Employee of the Week. That's just your rank, and that goes up the more stars you get, and up the top of your boosters, which you can swap out by tapping on them.
Okay, bye.
So it looks like it's not actually gonna... Oh, well, it might give me some more tutorials. But here's the general idea. You are a supermarket cashier clerk, and you have to scan as many items as possible and get them to the end of the conveyor belt. You do this by picking them up and dragging them over the scan. I was gonna say the scan screen, but you don't scan with the screen, you moron. So when you do this, you get combo. Ooh, when you see a bunch of the same items and you know the key code, type it directly on the keypad, saves time. That's actually pretty neat. Okay, that's cool. But yeah. That's the general idea. When you scan something, you'll get points. You can also build combos to get points, which is getting a few items in a row. Obviously, the more points you get at the end of the day, the more stars you get, and the more stars you get, the higher your rank goes.
Money.
Okay.
Alright, he's teaching me about a new power-up, which is the ×2 score bonus. So if I just tap this, it'll give me score ×2. Normally when you tap those in the middle of an actual level, it picks the bonus. Well, not so much at random. All these levels they aren't generated in any way, they're all the same. It's just the bonuses will be randomly picked from a set. So it's always either like it's always either like speed up or speed down, for example, in the same sort of general category, right? The only reason it's always score times 2 in this one is because it's the only reason it's score times 2 in this one is because they let you see how the power-ups work via just, you know, actually using them in practice and all that. There are, of course, other weird items that can show up on the scanner, as you can see. Like, there are bombs that can drop down, and this game does have the same little sense of humor that the Italia games tend to do. The Game Italia, not like the Italia series where you're, like, crafting items and stuff like that. It has that weird little sense of humor where your boss is basically just trying to make life as hard for you as possible. To the point where he literally drops bombs on the conveyor belt and lets dogs up onto it for some reason. He's a bit of a twit, but whatever, we'll live with it. Some items you have to scan more than once, and you've already seen me putting some codes into the little number pad there. Just gotta try and get them all through as quickly as possible, collect as many of the coins as I can. The higher the combo is, the more likely coins are to drop. So the higher your combo is, the more points you are likely to get. I'm doing okay. So he gave me a free 2x booster and it unlocked it in the shop, so let's just keep going. Oh, great. He's just going to throw more items on the conveyor belt for us if we hit the bonus. Thankfully, the bonus is one of the items we can actually let go off the side if we want to, but at the same time, we need to get a certain amount of items to finish the day off. So you can see up in the top left there our remaining item count. But yeah, this is basically it. It's a very simple game, and the free-to-play mechanics of it do let you get your energy back, obviously, and stuff like that over time, so you don't have to spend more than, like, a giant fucking swordfish for some reason. The game does let you just play it for, like, 10 minutes and then put it down and pick it back up again when you feel like it, and all that. It's all the basic mobile free-to-play stuff. The actual game itself does work alright. However, there is one problem that I have with it. And the problem with it is that the touch controls... Oh, this might actually be a laser scan. Yes, indeed. Laser scan's actually a pretty neat pickup because it's literally just a shortcut to high scores, and you can actually buy this as a booster. It's one of the cheapest boosters that you can possibly buy. And look at all the items. Look at all the coins it gives me. Look at all the items it lets you get. It's great. But yeah, my main problem with the game is its touch controls. Now, for the most part, they work okay, but sometimes, for some reason, it just feels the need to not pick up the item you were trying to pick up in the first place. And this can really suck when you're dealing with items like bombs, for example, where you need to pick them up and throw them off the conveyor belt. Because it means that you might end up picking up the wrong item, going and throwing it off, and realizing too late that you've got the wrong item, and you just massively screw it up. And throw off the wrong thing and you have to retry. And normally I wouldn't be too against this as a game mechanic, but at the same time, this is a free-to-play game where one mistake means you have to spend one more of your energy in order to... You have to spend one more of your energy in order to retry a stage. Like, see, I just completely dropped that there. That was my fault, I will admit, but that was an example of what I was talking about. But yeah, when you have to use a... What's the word? Whoop. Hey, that actually works. Nice. But when you have to use energy to retry a stage that you failed because you tried to pick up something, but the game picked up something else, and you ended up failing because of it. That is very frustrating, and I find myself quite annoyed by it more than anything else. It would be nice if there was some more accurate way of figuring out what... If there was some more accurate way of figuring out what you're about to pick up underneath your finger. Because that would be a... It would make it much easier to deal with, you know, picking up the wrong item or picking up certain items. Because the game will be a dick about it if you let it. There is a few levels where they simply decide to throw a bunch of things at you all at once. And if you can't work your way through all of them, you're screwed. I can actually change all my boosters here. They give you a fair few boosters to work with, which is actually pretty nice. I'll take the laser scan. You've pretty much seen every bonus there is to see except for Chance, and I haven't bought any Chance yet because I'm waiting to get the first restaurant upgrade.
Okay, boss.
So I basically have no reason to pick up these little boxes here. I should just let them go by. And it actually gives me points for skipping it as well, which is nice. And I know you can't see my finger to really work your way around that problem, and the controls really do work. Great, I have to tap it to get to the fucking item. That's just dick. Oh, and, yep, I missed. God damn it.
Let's go.
It's not that bad of a game for something that you can literally try out for free, more or less. I mean, I think of the base game without the actual, like, in-game purchases more as a demo. Just because, you know, considering that the game's only $2.99, I think of this more as a demo than anything else if you don't buy the actual microtransactions. But, really, it's not that bad. I'm not massively against it. I just wish the touch controls were a little better. That's pretty much it. It runs really well. I haven't noticed it drop any beats just yet, and there's been like a lot of coins and stuff on the screen.
Oh, yeah.
There's been tons of that. And there's been no slowdown whatsoever. There is some weird, like, voice acting, kind of like in the same way as, like, Banjo-Kazooie and stuff, where a fair bit of it sounds like just random nonsense. But yeah.
Okay, boss.
It's not that bad, not really. I don't mind it. I think it's alright. The touch controls kind of suck, but it still works. It's not something I'd recommend outright, but if you feel like if you want something to do just for a few minutes at a time, oh fuck me. If you want something to do for just a few minutes at a time, you can try this one out.
Oh, yeah.
It's decent enough, and you can get relatively far without having to worry about paying for anything or having your energy run out. Like, I managed to play this for about 25 minutes without running out of my initial set of energy. Which I know isn't a lot, but for something that you can literally get for free, it's hard to complain about it. Just waiting for one more bloody item. There we go. So every 10 days there is a stage which basically goes on forever. And I'm not going to bother to show you that because it's basically the same concept. Oh, save the baby. Alright, we want to... Because the customer is king. The goal today is to save 8 babies. I'll show you this just because it shows you a weird mechanic. Like, yeah, there's a baby. Give it back to the owner. So, apparently all the women in this universe are really incompetent at taking care of their babies and dogs. Like, I know that sounds like a weird thing to say, but it's always a woman. I have never seen a male version put a dog on the conveyor belt or something. That's just a bit odd, I will admit. Look at all the fucking babies. Oh, right. They try and trip you up with those ones that make you scan them twice. And if you actually pick up a baby and scan it by accident, it'll do the same thing as if you need to scan an item again. So if you're not paying close attention, you'll pick up a baby and try and scan it and be like, oh, I need to scan it again. And then you'll put it on the end of the conveyor belt and then baby will go donk on its head. But yeah, that was a quick look at Crazy Market. It isn't too bad, not in the grand scheme of things. I don't mind it, and I don't think I would outright recommend it just because it's a relatively basic game despite being pretty decent at what it does. But I mean, if you've got nothing better to do on a boring day and you don't want to spend any money, this could be a lot. There could be a lot worse ways to spend your time and your money for that matter. So go have a look, I guess. This has been Blue Maxima, and I will see you all next time.